Getting started? All right, looks like we're getting started. Good evening and welcome to the Real Estate Plate. As always, I'm your host, Nick Sakalis, coming to you live from the WGBB studios here in Merrick, New York. Hopefully you don't have any microphone cancellation feed off of this. Always something technical. Always something technical. It never ceases to astonish me. That being said, hope everybody had a great week last week. Fantastic weekend. You know, the weather's definitely changing. We're definitely seeing a lot of different things happening. A little bit unusual. You know, one day it's warm, the other day today it's kind of cool. It actually feels like fall right now. Right, Trevor? It actually feels like fall today. Yeah. Last week I felt like I was ready to go jump into the pool or the ocean or somewhere.
Well, I think tomorrow, one of the other day, you're gonna feel like that. Way for the 60s.
We're gonna go back into the 60s again?
Yeah.
What the hell's going on?
I have no idea. Global warming again.
I don't know what do you call it? Because other times we get into this global warming, we get into these freeze spells. I don't know what to make out of anything.
So what do you think? You don't think it's the global warming and all? Something is happening and something is changing.
I think it cycles.
Okay.
I think it cycles. You know, think of it like this. Throughout history, we've had multiple cycles, weather-wise and weather patterns, from the beginning of our history taking, where we've gone through ice ages, we've gone through heat snaps, we've gone through ice ages, the heat snap, back and forth, back and forth. So, is it unusual for that to happen? No. Historically, it's going to happen. Are we helping the process with all the crap that we're doing to the earth? Probably not. You know, I'm sure that whatever we're doing is accelerating whatever would happen anyway. But I don't think it's like we're causing the whole earth to change. I think it's all cyclical, and it happens. I think we're just speeding up the process with what we're doing. But you know, that's my theory. I'm scientist Nick. Sometimes it takes a dumb guy like me to come up with a theory that actually makes sense. You know, everybody's saying, "Oh, we're doing this." Oh, you have other people. I don't believe in global war. It's a fictional thing. It's made up by the conspiracy theorists.
Well, the country is split in half right now, so you're going to have half who believe what they see, what they hear, and then half going to say, okay, this is what's happening, so you're going to have a clash. It's happening in the Congress right now, and these people at home, wives and husbands getting along because they're from different parties. I mean, it's the whole thing now.
Well, forget about right now. Right now. That's happening, but this whole global warming debate's been going on forever. It's not as if this is something new, you know. So, is there something to it? Yeah, there's something to it. There's definitely something. The weather's changing. I don't necessarily know if it's warm because half the time we go through these freeze waves.
That's right, and the night drops.
What's that?
The night drops like 30.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, so I don't know if that's the case because in other parts of the world they're going through other things. Like here we're getting warmer, other places are getting colder. Places that never rained is raining now. Other places that would rain all the time, they're not getting rain. So, like I said, I think it cycles. I really believe it cycles, and like I said, I don't think that things that we're doing here and a lot of the pollution and everything that we're doing is helping the process in any way. So I don't know. We'll see. Time will tell. It's either going to be global warming that gets us. It's going to be the aliens coming down to get us. it's gonna be whatever. It's gonna be always something. But let's not get into this. Everybody's here to listen to real estate today. We're not here to talk about conspiracy theories unless you want to. You really want to talk to conspiracy theories. Let's do that. Let's do it. But I'm not gonna do that today. Because they're gonna probably lock us off. They're gonna the FCC is gonna give us violations and whatever. Who knows what else they're gonna do to us? This is that's the thing that bothers me more than anything else. Like the way I talk. I talk the way I talk. It's not like as if um I'm like saying anything differently than I did 5, 10 years ago. I like to speak my mind. Now you got to be careful. You got to be careful about everything you say. Not because of how people take it, because usually when I talk to logical people, whether they agree with me or they don't agree with me, they'll at least accept it. That's my opinion. I'm worried about FCCs. I'm worried about fines, violations, this, that. I'm worried about how something will be perceived. How about you just said something that sounded wrong to somebody else? How about that? It's funny. It's hilarious. I deal with stuff like that with a lot of my clients a lot of times.
Really, it's all politics. Wherever you look at it, politics is always a part.
A lot of times I'm having to educate my clients of how to speak.
Really.
Yeah, because a lot of times they just say things the way they want to say things. And I'm like, you can't say it in this way because it could come out to somebody. Like I had a client the other day. He's a landlord. He had uh, somebody that was interested in renting out his commercial space and that kind of thing. And this guy, he's animate. In front of the tenant when we're there at the meeting, he's like, "You can't afford the place. Get the hell out!" And I had to pull him to the side, and I basically told him, "Listen, you can't say this thing because I know why you're saying it." He said it because he just doesn't believe the guy has the money because he kept nickel and diming him. He was basically asking for like 30% off of the rent. And any logical person would take it from that point. But these days, you could say, well, you're being rude, you're being discriminatory, whatever the case is. You know, how about the fact that you're trying to lowball somebody? But it's one of those things you have to be careful, and that's actually the topic of the show today. Like a lot of the changes that we've done and that we had to apply to the real estate business, and things that we had to do that were different since we got out of quarantine and lockdown. There's been a lot of stuff that we really had. It's not only about sanitizers and rubbing alcohol and gloves and masks, which we do have to have those as well. And that's a big component of something that changed. And I don't think that's ever going to change and go back again.
Have you ever thought about writing a book, Nick, on real estate? Because I believe, honestly, that if people that buy homes, I mean, know the details of how to approach or to get, I think they probably better. Everybody just ignorant going there, especially somebody
I I really have thought about it, and possibly that's something that will come down the line in future years. Right now, the way I look at it is, I'm not in the position right now to give the time that's needed to it. Like if I'm going to write a book, it's got to be written properly, and I have to take the time and structure in the proper fashion. And I'm not sure that I'd be doing justice to everybody by going half into it. Like if we're gonna do something, let's do it the right way and we'll go all in. And right now, I am so consumed by so many other elements as far as of things that I'm busy with. I'm between the sales, between directing the commercial department, between being a
the man now, can I tell you?
I don't know if I'm the man. I'm a glutton for punishment. That's what I am. I'm not. I don't know if you know, I don't know if what I do is envious. I'll tell you that much.
Might be, you never know.
The amount of stress level that I take on myself, I can't even tell you. You know, but I think that's going to come down somewhere down the line. But I did apply something different, and I don't know when it's going to take effect. I did submit a process through YouTube right now to do a membership type of program on YouTube. So like people that they want, they could become members of the real estate club, and there's different tiers. And through some tiers, like for a tier that's like a 9.99, you can get extra content that I'm going to be putting on there as far as educational stuff, Q&A type of live sessions and that kind of thing. Plus the fact that I'm going to give everybody a once a month one-on-one session where they could call me in or I'll call them in, and they could ask me whatever questions they want. They'll have me dedicated to them completely at that time, and hopefully that helps people out in some way. You know, but as far as the book, I've kicked it around. I've had people actually come in and said, just tell us a couple of things and we'll write the book for you, that kind of thing. And I'm a control freak. I really am. And I got a real problem with, I really have a problem with giving up the control and say, okay, I'm going to give you a summary, you write it, and then that's it. What if they write it in the way that I hate it and that kind of thing? Then it's going to take more work for me to read it and edit it for them. I'd rather write it in my plain English, um, bad grammar kind of way, and let them clean it up for me after. That, that's the way I look at it. But there's so many changes, so many changes. It's gone. I mean, you talk about divided and that kind of thing. During the elections last year, what we dealt with, honestly, it was exhausting. It was so difficult to be able to work with people being so angry with each other, and you know, we were selling houses where people were taking a stance in their houses by putting up banners and flags, either promoting Trump or promoting Biden or whatever they're promoting. And I'm like, take it down. No, I'm not going to compromise. I'm like, don't be an idiot. Take it down. I'm not telling you to compromise anything, but you don't need to promote anything while you're trying to sell your house. Open it up to everybody. You're Biden, fine. You're a Democrat. Great. Good for you. You don't have to show everybody that because guess what's going to happen? You're going to violate every like, conservative and like super Republican and Trumpist and whatever you want, and they're not going to buy your house for that reason, out of spite. And the opposite happens. The same thing happens with the other side. You have the Trumpers. They put up the big flags and the Americana and everything like that. I don't listen. I don't know when this became a bad thing to have an American flag in front of your house. That I don't mind having a flag. Like, it's not a bad thing to have a flag in front of your house. That's good. You're patriotic. What's wrong with that? For some reason, that became something that's a problem for people. For some, and I noticed that here's an after effect. Here's a real after effect. I noticed driving up and down the streets this past Veterans Day. I don't think I saw half the houses that used to put up the flags have the flags up. Yeah, it's just an observation. It's something that I do a lot of drive time and I see what's going on. And I would always look at a lot of the flags and I would be like, it's a wonderful thing. We're commemorating the veterans and not as much. It was still there, but I knew specific places that used to put them up that didn't put them up this year. And I'm not going to point them out and make an issue out of it because who knows what the reasons were. Maybe these
thing at a time. You're still trying to get the advertising from the product.
Oh, forget the, you know, look at this. I come in here with a bucket of Starbucks every time, every time. I'm waiting for that endorsement to come in, and it never comes in. Do you realize how much coffee I consume, Starbucks? Do you have any idea? I don't think they do. Oh, they do. Actually, they do because I use the rewards card and they could see how many coffees I drink.
I do have a friend that is a manager. I'm gonna have to talk to him about
Maybe you should talk to them. I got plenty of friends too. But you know what? Those friends are useless to me because they can't get me an endorsement.
that. Maybe you should invite him on your show for a couple of minutes and find what's going on.
Maybe that's what I should do.
Yeah, you never know.
Maybe I think that's what I should
Yeah,
do.
anything's possible.
Anything is possible. Anything is possible. You know what? They don't need my publicity. That's the thing.
You never know. You have a good show.
They're a monster.
You never know, man. Something got to start from somewhere.
Yeah, you know what happens to big companies when they think they're too big to be effective? They collapse. Look at BlackBerry. So Starbucks, don't be BlackBerry of coffee.
Go out of business before you know it.
Don't be the BlackBerry of coffee. Stay innovative.
But I heard that, 'cause, some of the people have to sue, for a lot of things, because a lot of times it's going in, there's no coffee on them, and then it's causing a problem. So they have been strong enough.
Well, I'm going to tell you. Let me bring this to a real estate angle because this has been a problem not for Starbucks only, any eatery that you have. First of all, it's not Starbucks' fault. It's not the Dunkin' Donuts' fault. It's not the regular little coffee shop's fault that they couldn't have full capacity and they couldn't seat you. It wasn't their fault. It wasn't their fault that if you didn't have a mask, you can't have your cup of coffee. It's not there. Like in the city right now, you still can't go into the unless you. Now it's different. You know what the deal is, right?
Mhm.
Now, unless you're vaccinated and you go with one of your vaccination cards,
That's right.
you can't sit down.
Can't get access.
You know, so don't you think that's a problem?
Mm-hmm.
Now people are going in there and they're aggravated and they're pissed. They're legitimately pissed off. Why? Why? Because these are mandates that are brought in from the government. You know, whether they're right or wrong, it's not those small businesses' fault. It's not even the big businesses' fault. These are businesses that are just complying with what is brought from the powers beyond, and that's a problem.
Getting worse, whether it's illegal or home ones, but I understand that those that have been vaccinated have to stay home. You can't go out to the street. You can't do nothing. I mean, this is not only America, this is crazy. It's all over.
Oh, I'm not saying that it's only us. Don't get me wrong. I mean, Australia just got out of another parts of Australia just got out of another lockdown. Not all of Australia, but they bring one up, they lock another down. It just I'm not saying that we have the harshest rules out of everybody,
Right.
but you know what?
People are tired.
Everybody's angry right now. There's a lot of anger, a lot of anger, and it's it, it's not it's not created through people individually. It's created by the way it's been approached. You know, because think about it like this: you're the manager here in the studio at times. So when Jeff is not here, you're in charge. You're the guy, right? You make rules, right? You tell me that we have to. I don't know. We have to make a special rule to be in here, right? I can't have guests. Let's say you tell me I can't have guests anymore. Not that I have guests all the time, but I need. I, I'm gonna have guests, but you told me I can't have guests. Now, maybe that would upset me. Maybe I could bring in a guest that would generate me income in order to run the show. Would it be right for me to take it out on you?
Well, it's out the guy that you see all the time.
Yeah, but the question is, would it be right for me to take it out on him?
I'm following orders. So.
Would it be right for me to take it out on Jeff?
No, because you following orders.
No, these are the mandates. Would it be right for me to take it up with the governor? Yeah. Or the mayor or whoever it is? Yeah. And that's why you saw I wasn't mincing words when it came to Cuomo, when it came to De Blasio. Believe me, I didn't mince words.
You have two of them. One is down, and the mayor is next one, right?
And I'm in Nassau County. I'm in Nassau County, and I took it easy on Laura Curran.
Oh, okay.
She's over here in Nassau County. The reason I did was I didn't agree with everything she did either, but she didn't come out with a two-faced approach, and she didn't come with a dictatorship kind of approach. If you don't like it, you're an idiot kind of approach, because that's basically what De Blasio and Cuomo did to us. Well, because I don't understand. Because I don't understand what you're telling me, and I don't agree with it, then we're idiots. You don't even understand it, but you're telling us to do it. This is what I couldn't stand. So that's why I backed off. I didn't give a lot of grief and started, going on a full rant on Curran, because at the very least, she played a diplomat. She played a diplomatic. I mean, whether she was saying the truth to us or not, she did it with a smile in a aggravating way. And how they say, lie to me, but lie to me in a sweet way. What we were getting was people lying to us, and then basically yelling at us on top of it. It's tough. It's a very rough process, and it's a very difficult type of scenario that we went through. The businesses have been really, really affected. We just jumped into what's happening with the eateries, the restaurants, and this is not over. This is not over. Could you imagine you had a little shop, a little restaurant, a little eatery that wasn't built on deliveries? It wasn't built on takeout. It was built on, you go, you sit down, you have a meal, and you leave. There's a lot of places like that. Now, they took away your livelihood, basically. They really did. Now, some businesses were able to adapt. Okay, some businesses were able to figure out a way to keep it going. Some of them actually thrived. Actually, did better than they ever did, because they found a way to evolve their business and to be. They found a way to evolve their business, and they found a way to innovate through the Uber Eats, through the what's the other one? What I keep DoorDash, Grubhub, all these things. Through these things, they started. Well, other ones built a very good delivery system, the takeout systems, and they were able to adapt. But you know what? Not everybody was able to, and not because they didn't want to. Some of them just didn't know how. Some of them didn't have the ability to do that. Not every place could give up 30-40% of their bill that's being paid, because that's what these Grubhubs and DoorDashes were taking. Not all of them could afford to do that and get in with that system. Not all of them had the manpower to be able to get people to go deliver. Do you know how many people actually did not have the manpower because people refused to come in and work? You know how many people were getting unemployment and said, "Why the hell am I going to come in?" Especially when they were giving the extra incentives. They were giving the extra, what was it, $500-600 that would keep you from New York. when they were giving all that extra money, and people were getting sometimes $1,100 a week, and they were saying to themselves, "Why am I going to come into work when I'm collecting $1,100 for just sitting on my butt? Why?" And then you had people that had that little restaurant, that little eatery that is a 5-man operation tops, and they're stuck to just the owner and maybe one extra person working and trying to handle it. And then on top of it, you have all these trolls and all these people that are not understanding of the problems, and they're going on Yelp and saying, "Well, they took an extra 45 minutes to bring my meal. They're terrible," whatever the case is. Like, and they're sitting and pounding on top of these people. It's unbelievable. It's horrible. Hey, driver's seat, how you doing? I read that Minnesota and California have now regulated market rate rents. It's only a matter of time before New York will follow suit. Actually, that's funny that you said that, driver's seat, because they've been talking about stabilizing commercial rents for quite some time here in New York City. And that's actually a real thing that they've been wanting to implement. I don't know how that's going to have legs now, especially now that we're changing mayors. I hope that they reconsider and don't continue that, because it really is a problem. You know, if we go to stabilized route the same way we have with apartment rentals on commercial properties, you're going to take away a tremendous amount of incentive from investment money wanting to come here in New York. Not saying it's going to kill the market completely, but it's going to change the market in a way like you've never seen before. After putting and shutting down so many small businesses, how is former Governor Cuomo allowed to make money from a book deal? See, it's not just me, Trevor. You heard that? Is that book going to talk about how he ruined so many small landlords? I think right now Cuomo is hiding. You haven't heard a peep out of him. You haven't afraid. He had some kind of side deal right now that these are my assumptions. There's nothing fact. Don't sue me. Don't sue me, Cuomo. I'm not. I'm making an assumption. I don't know. I can't say this for a fact or anything like that. But what I'm gonna say is he's been extremely, extremely quiet ever since he got taken out of office, and I can't help. I can't personally. This is my own theory. Nobody else had to tell me this. I can't personally believe how he perhaps, he perhaps had some kind of backdoor negotiation and deal of I'm going to step down, you leave me alone. Time will tell. Time will tell. We'll see how this goes. I just hope that some hero Boy Scout or Girl Scout comes out of nowhere with an agenda, an axe to grind, nothing to lose, no ties, no political affiliation, where they don't care who's from where, and just go after him. I really do. I don't think that will happen. Same with De Blasio, because he go ask his wife how much money they took from the city and used for phantom type of programs. Go ask them. I'm not telling you. You go investigate. I'm not saying that they did it. Why don't you investigate? They're not going to do that. We'll see. We'll find out soon enough. But driver's seat is a great person. He jumps on a lot of the streams. I'm happy to see him jump in again. Uh, he finds some of my triggers sometimes whenever he hits me with that landlord trigger. I'll tell you something. I don't know if I want to dive into that jump into that black hole right now, because if I do, there might not be any coming out of that. Well, I haven't jumped onto the eviction moratorium yet, right now, but we're still talking about the small businesses that have been affected. And I'm telling you, it is it is a tough situation for a lot of these businesses. I don't know how they're going to make them whole. I mean, a lot of the places that already shut down, I don't know if they'll ever reopen. I really don't. Quite possibly they won't. There's plenty of places you drive by them all the time that haven't reopened yet, or they're partially open.
Yeah.
There's other places that are sitting it out right now. They're operating on a skeleton crew. They're making whatever they can. A lot of them are not paying rent or not paying full rent to their landlords, and just waiting it out until the eviction moratoriums are completely through. They go through the process and then hand over the keys to the landlord and say we're done. You're getting a lot of that too. And you know what? That's a little painful right now because both sides in the commercial market, I really believe both sides have a little bit of a right to be upset. Not all of them, but the landlord obviously they need to get paid to pay the expenses and maintain the building and pay the mortgages and pay this property tax and all that stuff. Thank you, by the way, for keep charging us property taxes. By the way, that we still have that going on, and I get that their aspect. Obviously, I've been an advocate for landlords since day one, but we also have the factor from these small businesses that they've been crippled as well. They've been told you can't operate at full operations. You can't do this. Oh, you could take a loan. You could take a loan and put your business in the red even more for that money that you may or may never get back again. You could do that, but they're in a position where they're barely making it even just to put some food on their kids' plates. So you're in a really bad position, really, really bad position. From that aspect, I feel very like I'm really, really divided between the small businesses of not being able to pay the rent or partially paying the rent, and the landlords, their position as well. I mean, don't get me wrong. There's people that manipulate the system. There's places that are thriving. When I say thriving, they're making money hand over fist, and they're still trying to renegotiate and that kind of thing, which I think is a dirtbag move to do, because they're basically kicking the landlords while they're down. And a lot of times the landlords are doing whatever they can just to keep themselves afloat. So I think that's the wrong thing. But I'm not saying that's all the cases. And there's not as many commercial kind of environments like that as there is in the residential section, the apartments. So the big developers line Cuomo's this guy's gonna keep this guy's gonna get me thrown off the air. The big developers lined Cuomo's pockets at the start with the first term. Those developers are now all over minority neighborhoods, putting in high rises, not only of these new developments. Well, yeah, I mean, how am I going to say anything against that? It's self-evident. It really is self-evident. You see all the development happening in areas nobody wanted to touch before. He's 100% right. I can't deny that. I can't fight that. But I'm sure somebody that's listening on the air is going to turn around and say, "Yeah, it's you're super conservative." It has nothing to do with conservative. It's like just because I don't like to work like a dog and give all my money to the government doesn't make me a conservative. It doesn't make me a rightist. It doesn't make me anything. It makes me like a normal human being. I want to work and keep as much of my money as possible. Otherwise, what's the point of working? That's how it is. It's he got a couple more things. I'm not gonna jump on it. He's making it even.
You should invite him on your show.
I'll tell you what, driver seat. If you want to call in, as long as you keep it, as long as you keep it okay, and you don't want to, and you don't really mess me up over here. As long as you keep the words mindful to keep me on the radio. The number here is 516-623-1240. I don't know if you get the chance to call in yet or whatever the case is. I didn't even say that. I got into full rant. I got into a full rant And I didn't even get a chance to say the phone number, the phone number 516-633-1240, just like the radio station, 1240 a.m. And you know, I wonder how many people probably call during off hours when they're watching the replay to the number, thinking that it's live.
I don't know.
It probably happens. That probably does happen. But drivers, if you want to call in, you're more than welcome. Just don't, please, don't say something that's gonna get me kicked off and get me fines. At least not now. When I'm ready to go, you can say anything you want. When it's time for me to retire and say I'm hanging you up on my radio show host gig, you could say whatever you want at that last episode, and then Trevor's going to be holding the bag with Jeff.
I hear you.
Until then, be nice. That's all I'm going to say. But we could dive into other businesses as well. Look at office spaces. Look at the escape from New York mentality. You know how many office spaces, how much commercial space has either consolidated, cut down on their space, or closed down altogether in the city? Tremendous amount.
I would live in the city if it didn't get apartment.
You wouldn't, huh?
It's just too much.
Well, the way they're keeping everybody under an iron fist. Well, if we went at the same pace that we were going last year, where everybody was leaving, it would have been wonderful. You could park anywhere you want.
No, right?
But that wasn't bound to continue. And I said that. I said that last year. Everybody was saying everybody's leaving. New York is horrible. Whatever the case is. Oh wow, he wants the phone number. Well, you might take me up on it. The number here is 516-623-1240. Again, the number here is 516-623-1240. Just please be nice. That's all I'm gonna say. Let me ask you something. Is there any way you could put a speaker on in here? There you go. Trevor, is there any way you could put a speaker on in here where my microphone would be able to catch? Okay.
I'm good, all right. All right, no problem. Okay. All right, you got your caller, Nick.
You got me tapped in?
Yeah.
Driver seat, is you there? Wait, hold on a second, because I can't hear you. Why? Because we got technical difficulties. Why is this always happening to me? I can't hear him.
He's on.
I know he's on. I could hear him from your room.
Turn your headset.
There we go. We got it. All right. Are we going to keep the name driver seat, or did you want to give a first name? All right. Let's stick with the driver seat. All right. Thank you for calling in. Did you have something in particular that you really wanted? What was the actual? What was the? Let's do 99.5. All right, I'll definitely do it. I do appreciate that because I definitely like to see like minds. Oh, is it? Oh, really? So so basically, he's just another attorney that likes to collect money regardless of whatever the situation is. Oh, you want me to listen to him to get aggravated? In other words. Oh, I'm sure that's the case. Well, I'm not sure if I agree. I'm not sure if I agree with that as far as the neighborhoods themselves, because I've seen it universally happening in a lot of different neighborhoods, a lot of different neighborhoods. There's just an overhanging cloud that's been covering a lot of New York City. You know, I don't think it's specific. It could be more concentrated in the areas that you're saying, but I do see it really blanketing a lot. It was like the agenda of the cancel rent and that whole thing. I mean, there was things happening right in the middle of Lion City and Astoria and places like that, where like in the middle of yuppie areas. You know, there's all kinds of different types of vibe that's going in. There is an agenda. Well, you are right about that. You are right about that. That dynamic has changed dramatically, and a lot of areas where it wasn't. I want to say a professional type of landlord environment. It was really your mom and pop landlords that basically were just trying to supplement income from a two, three family house, just like you said. Like yeah, I could see that. I've seen these changes happening in a lot of different areas, just exactly the same way you mentioned it. And yeah, they did have people who stiff them, and usually it was family members and friends because that's typically how it happens a lot of times. Unfortunately, but that was a lot of times it was their decisions of losing that rent because of the family members and the friends and giving more time and that kind of thing. It was never mandated by the government, basically telling us you can't rent, you can't take rent, you can't kick people out, you can't evict anybody. This is all new stuff to us. These past 2 years have basically crushed people with an iron fist. And the cancel rent movement is a realistic movement. I don't know what's going to happen in January. We're supposed to get out of this eviction moratorium. I don't know. I don't know where this is going to go. It's going to be a strange scenario because it's not like going to be the courts overnight are going to change the policies and they're going to say, okay, now you could evict everybody. It's going to take months upon months to go through the process. Are you a landlord yourself, driver's seat? I think I lost them.
Oh yeah, yeah, he's gone. He dropped off.
Oh, that's unfortunate. We lost drivers. If you're able to hop back on before the end of the show, we end at 7. Feel free to call back. I'm sorry I lost you, but I definitely love to hear from people calling in, and I love to hear different different people's interpretations of how this is going on. And like I said, driver seat's a person that is a regular on the show, and he always is interactive on the top chat, and I love hearing from everybody. In case you don't like to be verbal and you don't like to chat on the text top chat, and you're a little shy about calling in or something to that effect, you always have the opportunity to be able to email me at realestateplateradio@gmail.com, and that's realestateplateradio@gmail.com. And if you have specific questions that you want me to have addressed on the air, I could definitely do that. And if you don't want to have them addressed in the air, just please make sure that you write that in the email that you send me, that you want me just to respond to you directly. And I know that sometimes these things could be a little bit more private and that kind of thing. So we don't want to have any problems. I'm just gonna also bring up this in case there's any audio issues coming in from the YouTube and the Facebook feed uh, due to the call that we took in. I'm gonna play the replay, and if there's audio issues, what I'll do is I'll take the audio and blend it onto the actual video and re-release the video after during the week. If that's the case, I'll play the replay and let you know what the scenario is on that. But that being said, this is a really tough situation. It's hurt a lot of people. It's hurt a lot of people, and the politics have not helped anybody. You know, again, I'm not turning this into a political show because it's not. But it's so hard to be able to talk about anything business, whether it's real estate, whether it's small businesses, whether it's the restaurants, whether it's anything like that, without having to at least acknowledge that politics had a hand in this. It's very tough to be able to do that. You could all make your own interpretations as you choose. And we all have the right to our own opinions, and we all have the right to agree to disagree. And I've said this multiple times. And if there's somebody on here that doesn't agree with me, you're more than welcome to jump on the air as well and tell me why you don't disagree. Why don't you agree with me? Or if you have a different take on something, I'd love to hear that as well. If there's something that I'm thinking or I'm expressing that possibly I'm on the wrong side of it, I'd love to hear what I'm saying wrong. And if I am wrong, I will admit to it. But I'm not. I promise you, I'm not wrong. I know exactly what I'm saying right now. Again, one more time. Look, Star. Now I'm showing you a logo. Starbucks, I'm showing you a logo now. Now you got to start I'm not going to give that to you very often. But that being said, the restaurants have been affected. The offices, the spaces that's actually what I did. That's what I was going to dive into right before driver seat called up. And there's been such consolidation, such space that has shrunken in the city as far as corporations and businesses need for office space, that you're getting a real scary scenario where what's going to happen with all this extra space? Possibly some of it could be converted into residential space down the line, possibly, but I don't think that's going to happen overnight. This is going to be a very interesting process. During quarantine and all of last year, we were looking at a lot of spaces, a lot of different companies that were coming in and going to Long Island, they were going to Westchester, they were going to all different places outside of the city to look for more affordable office spaces, either to move their business completely or to use as satellite spaces for their employees that were commuting. And guess what happened during that time? A lot of these scenarios were really, they were really meant to be temporary. They really were. But what happened during this time is companies and businesses, they realized that, you know what? We could work with 10 people instead of 15. We could do the job with 15 people instead of 25 people. We could do the job with 20 people instead of 40 people. They were discovering this. And people's jobs started to become kind of obsolete. They discovered that I don't need to be in the city every single day to be able to do my job. I could work from a laptop and a camera just like the one that's pointing at me and Trevor over here. I could work on a laptop with a camera and a microphone, and I could do my job the same way I could in the city. For many different jobs, for many industries. Or they discovered I don't need to have 20,000 square feet of space in the city when I could do the same job out of only 4,000 square feet is 4,000 square feet in Suffolk County, or Rochester, or Rockland County, or in Pennsylvania. This is very real. This shifted everything. This is something that I believe will not dissipate. Now, will a lot of people go back into the city where new businesses go into the city, where offices reopen? Absolutely. Absolutely. Without a doubt, without reservation, without hesitation, I could tell you that eventually people will start coming in full to the city. But the dynamic, the mindset, and the way to run your operation and business has changed forever. I promise you. Zoom, you know that video platform that people love using, that app that everybody loves using, that blew up during quarantine, the stock flew through the roof. You know that company? Well, just like them, there's a million other companies like that. StreamYards, you name it, that do video conferencing type of stuff. Microsoft Teams. That replaced the face-to-face meeting, the face-to-face conferences. And in a lot of cases, it will replace it forever. Now, I'm talking to you right now as I'm here at WGBB inside the studios. I got a wall right here. You see this wall? It's separating from me and Trevor so he doesn't attack me. And says, what do you say? The FCC is going to get me? So we're separated right here. So kind of quarantining. I don't have to wear a mask to put my voice through this microphone and through the airwaves and through the YouTube world and through the Facebook world. I don't have to do that. And that's what Zoom and Teams and StreamYards and all these video conferencing platforms have afforded people to be able to do. I could be sitting here. You see me with my jacket on. You see me with my shirt on. I could be sitting here with my jacket and my shirt. You might think I'm in a suit, but I could be wearing my underwear from under here. You don't know. These are the things that have changed. It's a different world. A lot of things have changed dramatically, some for the better, some for the worse, and some things is yet to be seen. It truly is yet to be seen. Now, I went in a little bit of a different tangent talking about a lot of this stuff, but I think it was necessary. And I think this conversation and this type of program for the show needs to continue with another show because I don't feel that 1 hour was even close enough to even touch and to even tackle all the things that have changed and have been affected since this whole, I don't even want to call it anymore, pandemic, uh, world changer. I don't know what I'm going to call it anymore. Whatever is it, since what we've encountered has hit us, nothing's the same anymore. There's a lot of things that have changed, and I assure you that some things will never go back to where they were before. And again, I will say this again. I will make a point of saying this: some for the better, some for the worse, and some yet to be seen. So we don't know. But that's why you got me here on the radio. That's why you got other people on the radio, basically stating and reporting and talking about things as they happen. You know, yes, this is a real estate program. It is, but you know what? Businesses, our lives, the world affects real estate. So for me not to talk about these things in any way would be negligent. So on that thought, I just want to thank Driver Seat again. We lost him. We never got him back. Maybe we could be able to kind of, continue this conversation in a future show. We lost him, and I'm definitely going to check out that program that he said on 99.5 FM at 8 o'clock. Let's see what this superintendent friendly lawyer is all about. Maybe I'll review it. Maybe I'll call in. Let's see what kind of mood I'm in. But until the next week, just like every week, I'll be back with you next Monday, 6 p.m. on the Real Estate Plate. Until then, enjoy the week and make a lot of money in real estate.